Toastmaster Dinesh Shekhar. Dinesh is an MBA graduate. He works in a construction company in Shwalinganadu. Dinesh has been a part of Toastmasters for at least last 1 year. And his moments to boost his happiness, he purposefully finds time to play with 3-year-old nephew, and gives him a lot of happiness. That actually boosts his happiness. Dinesh, that's wonderful to hear that activity. I mean, the thing which you actually make you very happy. Dinesh is giving a speech from PATH Dynamic Leadership, project number 5, Understanding Your Leadership Style. So I would like to request his evaluator, Roni Sunny, to read out the objective of his speech.
Yeah, so the objective for Dinesh's speech today is, the purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is also for the member to share some aspects of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general.
Thank you.
All the best.
I would like to call Dinesh on the stage. Toastmaster Dinesh Shekhar, hats of leadership. Hats of leadership, Toastmaster Dinesh Shekhar.
Thank you. How many of you joined Toastmasters to improve your communication skills? Please raise your hands. How many of you joined Toastmasters to become a leader? I see much lesser hands being raised. But the primary objective of Toastmasters is leaders are made every day. As the great legendary king said once upon a time, I'm not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep, but I'm afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion. That is the impact that leadership has, and it can certainly impact the change of the final result. Before sketching out the details of today's meeting, the Pathways online portal guided me to a questionnaire which had 48 questions. These questions were made to find out my leadership style. According to Pathways, there are 8 leadership styles: bureaucratic, authoritative, innovative, pace-setting, democratic, affiliative, altruistic, and coaching. Out of these 8 styles, I'm going to talk only about 4 of them, which are democratic, authoritative, pace-setting, and innovative. Personally, in my school and college days, I have been part of NSS. Through NSS, I have cultivated a lot of leadership skills because of the outings I have been. Also, in my limited work experience that I have, if I have to take a particular decision, I have consulted everyone across the board, all the stakeholders. Sometimes even people who are the most lowest corporate ladder have the most precious insights, and it should not be neglected. Everyone knows about the famous Apple brand, right? And its CEO, and its late CEO, Steve Jobs. Apple was a very successful company in the beginning, right from 1976 till 1985. This was not only because it was selling Apple computers and the famous Macintosh personal computer, but also it's because of its leader, Steve Jobs, who was following pace-setting leadership. A pace-setting leader is someone who sets very high standards of leadership. The standards of leadership has to be followed by everyone in the group and all his subordinates. He correctly rectifies someone who doesn't perform very well, and he forces them to rise up to the occasion. If they still don't rise up to the occasion, they are immediately thrown out of the group. In the year 1985, although he was the founder of Apple, he was thrown out of the Apple company. This was because he had a public clash with the company's CEO at that point of time. At this juncture in his career, he changed gears and he became a more autocratic leader. An autocratic leader is someone who doesn't take the views of everyone in his team aboard. For example, if an important decision has to be made, not any stakeholder is taken into cognizance, but the only single person takes the full decisions. And all his subordinates describe him as a person who doesn't have the words polite in his dictionary ever. Soon enough, he was thrown out of the company. By the mid-1990s, Apple was declining, and so was Steve Jobs' personal life. Many companies like Sun Microsystems and Microsoft were zeroing in on to acquire Apple. But many years later, Apple is still on the top, and many of those companies are not even in the industry. This was because when Steve Jobs was brought into the team of things, he became a more democratic leader. A democratic leader is someone who listens to the views of everyone, of all the stakeholders. Each and every point is notified, and a broader consensus is built upon. But there are some disadvantages of democratic leadership. Like, for example, it takes a much longer time to create a consensus among everyone, and reaching consensus sometimes is not possible at all. At this point of time, Apple once again sold back, and it is the company he has left now. He even mentored Tim Cook, who was the manufacturing expert at that point of time. Today, Tim Cook is the CEO of Apple. A single person through his career has changed into 3 different types of leadership styles. First, he was a pace-setting leader, the company sold, and then he became an autocratic leader. Then the company declined, and so did his personal life. And then he changed gears, and he became a more inclusive democratic leader. That's when the company sold back again. Similarly, in India, we all know about the late former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Kamaraj. Kamaraj, as you all know, was the National Congress president. During the mid-60s, when Prime Minister Nehru died, Kamaraj had the very difficult task of bringing the party together. He had to create a broader democratic consensus within the party because the party was about to break up. And he was the kingmaker twice and maintaining the ethicality of the party. He first made Indira Gandhi as the Prime Minister, he first made Lal Bahadur Shastri as Prime Minister, and then he made Indira Gandhi as the Prime Minister. He did this by creating a consensus, a democratic consensus within his party. We all know about Steve Jobs, but we also should know about the CEO of Netflix, who is Hastings. Netflix initially was just a small movie rental business company in 1995, but today it has crossed over 13 to 14 crore subscribers worldwide. This was primarily because from a small movie rental company, it has become an on-demand internet streaming company. This is innovative leadership. An innovative leader is someone who creates very big ideas, and he also creates among the subordinates a platform in which innovation is brought upon. He encourages their leadership and he encourages their innovation. Now, and after finishing the question, I was found to be a democratic leader. And I personally, as I already told, I am someone who takes in the views of everyone while taking a decision. But not one hat has to be used by everyone. Each and everyone has varying types of leadership style. Not everyone has to be a single type of leader. As famous American author John C.M. said, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Thank you, TM.
Thank you, Dinesh. It was a thoughtful speech. Now we are moving to the second speech. The second speaker's name